Buenos dias, bon dia, buongiorno, bonjour. We have such an international audience here that I thought we'd start out and kind of appeal to them in their many different languages. Great to see everybody virtually. Thanks for joining us. We have a really wonderful program today. I just noticed that with this sweater, I look like a cobra and I have my hood up. So this is something that we'll have to make some modifications to the outfit in future sessions. But we're coming off a terrific weekend here on campus. A wonderful win against Clemson. We had so many Clemson fans. There was orange all over campus. They were excited to be here, and they were loud right until Prince Kali intercepted the blocked punt early on and ran it in for a touchdown, and then all was quiet the rest of the game. But I think we still extended, outside of the team's performance, a tremendous hospitality to our Southern guests, and they're great people. And kudos to Dabo Swinney, I should say, who's a class act and had a lot of great things to say about Marcus and how well coached the team was and how terrific our team was, and that we outclassed them in every phase of the game. It took some I think some real character and humility on his part, and just so excited for Marcus and the boys and the terrific job that they did and the great celebration for the family. We have one home game. Obviously, we're at Navy in Baltimore this weekend, and one home game left, Boston College, 2 weeks from now. And if you haven't been back already to campus, we hope that you'll fit it in your schedules. And even if you have been back, come back for one more. It's always a great rivalry game with Boston College. So we'll look forward to seeing you soon. It's my distinct pleasure to introduce to you today recently appointed Vice President for Human Resources and good friend, Heather Christophersen. She, prior to this, served as the Associate Vice President for Advancement Services in the Development Department. So I got to work very closely with her there. And before that was the Director of Maintenance within the Facilities Design and Operations Division, where she did a terrific job. She was the Director of Sustainability. She was the Director of Strategic Planning, and she started out working in our Alumni Association. So she has seen probably more dimensions of university life than most. Heather is a 1998 Notre Dame grad with a BS in Chemical Engineering, one of the softer majors here. And she earned her MBA from Northwestern's Kellogg School of Management. So an impressive background, pedigree. She worked for BP and in the chemicals industry for 12 years. And she and her husband, Chad, who's a 95 grad, reside here in South Bend with their two beautiful children, Quinn and Avery. So welcome, Heather.
Thanks, Lou. Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
She's coming to us from her offices in Grace Hall, first floor of Grace Hall.
Yes.
Nicely adorned. And so let's start at the beginning. Tell us a little bit about, where you grew up and what were your formative years like?
Yeah, so I was born in Northwest Indiana, in the region. Both of my parents grew up there. And when I was in between second and third grade, we moved to Indianapolis. So I grew up most of my time on the northeast side of Indianapolis, which has grown up a lot since when I was there in my youth. Two great parents. I have one younger sister. It was kind of like a classically good, ideal childhood. Huge Notre Dame fan my whole life. My dad didn't go to Notre Dame, but was a huge Notre Dame football fan. So many memories of coming up to campus with him, with the pigtails, and he had me hold a sign that's like, we need tickets. And then we would always get tickets. We would never be shut out of a game because he would use me like child labor, really, but get to go to the games. But Notre Dame was a huge part of our lives, being so close in Indianapolis, and just had a great childhood experience.
Well, let me tell you, if you threw your hair in pigtails right now, I'd give you some free tickets.
Oh,
as well.
Thanks,
yeah,
Lou.
exactly.
That's very kind. Yeah.
Your dad, were you the first in your family to go to Notre Dame? And was Notre Dame always on your radar? How did this all play out for you to come here?
Yeah, so I was the first in my family to go to Notre Dame. Notre Dame was always on my radar. We have a deep history and kind of foundation with Notre Dame. My grandparents, actually, my grandmother immigrated from Germany and my grandfather immigrated from Austria. Both immigrated to South Bend when they were children. Their families came. My grandmother actually, came over on the boat with a Holy Cross priest that was coming over from Germany to come to Notre Dame, and their family kind of surrounded him and became really close friends. And so my grandparents met in South Bend. There's stories of them dancing at the Palais downtown, and they ended up moving to Northwest Indiana, and that's where they raised their family. But my grandfather would go to Knute Rockne's games and shook Knute Rockne's hand, and so he kind of instilled the love of Notre Dame in all of his kids. And then so that's kind of where it started for me at birth. Kind of no choice but to love Notre Dame. Video of me singing the fight song when I was 3. All of that.
Well, so many kids out there, you were sufficiently brainwashed.
I was brainwashed, right?
Yeah.
We're trying hard not to brainwash our own kids, but that sometimes you can't help it.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be tough in their situation. So tell us a little bit about your undergraduate years. Where did you live? We know you studied chemical engineering. Any salient memories that you have from those 4 years?
Yeah, so many memories. So as I graduated in 98, I lived in Lewis Hall. I was a building manager at La Fortune, so that was my campus in employment, which was super fun. I was my first couple of years, I was a student manager with the athletics department. So I got to paint. Back in the day where we actually painted the helmets, I got to paint the helmets. I started at Notre Dame right after Rudy came out, the movie, and so everyone saw that in the movie taking place of the painting of the helmet. So it was fun to do that. Realized as it started to get a little more intense to be an athletics manager that wasn't going to be a great fit with being a chemical engineer, and as the workload picked up with the studies. But I met some of my best friends. People say it all the time. Notre Dame it's a beautiful place. It's a special place. But it's really the people that make it so. And so when I think of all the friends that I met and all the people that you're growing up, basically, 18 to 22 years old, you're growing up, you're becoming, who you are. And to do that, so many great memories with so many great people here on campus.
Rudy Rudiger was back on campus this past weekend, and my understanding is the lines were going out the door of the bookstore to meet him and to get, his autograph. And then he was at other events and he was just swarmed all day on campus. So it's amazing the impact that movie still has had on generations of Notre Dame fans and followers. So are you still a huge Notre Dame football fanatic, sports fan?
Well, of course, you have to be. Yes, definitely. Our 2 kids, it's interesting. Our oldest son, he's 11, and our daughter is 9. She's the football fan. And so, on football weekends, it's, nonstop watching football with her, which is really great. And she reminds me of me when I was that age, and she knows all the players, and she has her own little offensive coordinator playbook, and, she's working on all of that. And then we have our son in the other room who has no interest in football. And poor guy, on Saturdays, he's kind of left to his own devices. And he's in there. You guys you're being distracted from the things that really matter, like solving the world's problems and war and poverty. He makes us feel really guilty about being so focused on football. But
I love that, the intensity of an 11-year-old already. That's fantastic. And it's, it shows you, even with just 2 children, how different kids can be raised in the same environment. So you come to Notre Dame and you study not only chemical engineering, but you go to work in the chemicals industry for about 12 years. What ultimately brings you back to Notre Dame? And I think you started out first in the Alumni Association, was your first job back here on campus.
It was a phenomenal experience working for BP and then Elevance later. Learned so much about working for a large multinational, giant company. I was in their chemical sector. Learned so much about business and the use of data to make decisions, leadership. Had wonderful examples of phenomenal leaders. But there was just something where I felt where I wanted to do something that felt more connected to my values, that felt more like I was serving even a bigger purpose than myself. We in the chemicals industry, there's a saying, better living through chemistry, right? Which is definitely true, and helping make lives better through the products that we were making. But I wanted to feel that connection in my day-to-day life. And an opportunity came to come back to Notre Dame. It was a big decision, but I just felt in my heart and in my gut that it was the right thing to do. And I've never looked back. It's been phenomenal.
So you're a really interesting combo. Having worked with you closely, what I love about it is you have the rigor and discipline of a chemical engineer, of an engineer, just broadly speaking, and then also the refined skills of somebody with an MBA from one of the top schools in the country. But you also have this affability, this warmth, this really outgoing nature where you are very people-centric. You're very relationship centric. It's an interesting combination that you don't see this combination in a lot of people. Tell us a little bit about how you integrate engineering into the work that you do as a leader.
Yeah, that's a really good question. So when I think of engineering, and I was, chemical engineering, what that really taught me, what school really taught me, was problem solving. And so, I couldn't go back right now and do like the detailed equations and figuring out distillation columns and that kind of thing. Like I couldn't do that, but engineering school laid the foundation for me of how to approach a problem, how to break a problem down, how to use information and data to make better decisions and then continue to refine it. And I think that can be applicable anywhere. So when I talk to students now, when they're discerning what major they might pursue, I often tell people, if you have any interest in math and science, go be an engineer, because you can do anything with your career with it. Many of my friends from Notre Dame who were engineers, they're doing all sorts of things. As the VP of HR to working and high up in Google, to doing investment banking, like all sorts of different career paths engineering can lead you to.
So let's talk. You haven't been long. Tell us how long you've been on the job as the Vice President for Human Resources. And my guess is that you're still at the phase where you're kind of drinking from a fire hose, because it's a big job with many and varied dimensions to it. So tell us a little bit about how you've gotten started and what you see as the scope of your responsibilities.
Yeah. So it's been about a little over 4 months. So yes, as you can imagine, as you go through my background, I don't have a traditional HR background. I think it allows me to bring, as a consumer of HR services, kind of on campus through my various leadership roles and in various divisions. I have a perspective of someone who utilized HR, and coming in from the outside, I think is an exciting opportunity for our department to maybe think a little differently about how we deploy those services and what HR means at Notre Dame. So I am thrilled and so excited about this opportunity. I feel very honored. But as it's drinking from the fire hose. And so I've spent most of my first 3 months in particular doing a listening tour. So I've met with over 100 leaders on campus. I've met with the entire team individually, and just sort of, what's going well, where are areas of opportunity, what are the big the big questions or the big concerns around campus, and what can we do better. And when I think about what our kind of scope is in an HR department, to me, it's people and culture. So it's, bringing in the top talent, recruiting the best possible, we recruit the best students and the best faculty. We need the best staff here as well. And creating a culture that respects people, that turns, gets them excited about creativity, solving problems, and working together in teams and unified approach. So it's recruiting people here and then retaining them and developing them and making sure that they're matched in the right roles that they should be. It's offering the right total reward packages, that people are compensated and have the benefits that they need. Creating a diverse and inclusive culture of belonging and equity across the board in all areas, up and down. And then the particular thing that I would like us to focus on is really being a more data-driven culture and getting really solution-oriented, so we can be the strategic partners that the campus is looking for us to be.
Yeah, it's a far-ranging set of responsibilities, right? That calls for just a diversity of skills and a knowledge base that is far and wide. So whether it's comp and benefits, or whether you're talking about conduct and disciplinary issues, or whether you're talking about the data-driven piece and so many others that you just mentioned right now. One of the things that I think that Notre Dame did, and if you could talk a little bit about this, to kind of manage some of the soaring healthcare costs, Notre Dame partnered and built a wellness center on campus that has provided a service to all of our employees and their families. Could you talk a little bit about the impact of what that's meant? It's been a win-win, maybe even win-win-win dynamic for the university. Tell us about that.
Yeah, we are so lucky to have the Wellness Center on campus, and it is a benefit that we're constantly trying to make sure that everyone on campus knows all that is offered there. It opened about 10 years ago. We celebrated the 10-year anniversary this fall, and we celebrated it with an expansion. So we expanded the pharmacy, we expanded the physical therapy space, we expanded the rooms for well-being and mental health and therapy services, as well as the rooms for medical practitioners. And it's been a blessing to campus for making it easy for people right here on campus to find the care and everything they need cheaper, more accessible, and it's also had the excellent benefit of lowering our overall cost of medical benefits on campus. So it's a complete win-win-win, and the expansion just only shows how the desire for the services keeps increasing. One of my favorite things is the pharmacy. Like, you can go in that pharmacy and buy over-the-counter, cold medicine for less than $1 a pill, right? Like it's probably like, a fraction of the cost of what you would pay in a pharmacy around town. So
it's an incredible partnership, and this just one employee. It's been revolutionary, not just for me, but for my family. And I know that when we do the surveys, how many employees would you say we have roughly at Notre Dame?
We have about 4,400, little under 4,500 staff, and another 2,500 of faculty. Yep.
How many faculty would you say?
The number, we got to get the exact number, but it's a little less than 2,500.
Okay, 2,500, 4,400 that you particularly are responsible for, and you do have some, responsibility as well for the faculty, but it's such a huge benefit for the families here. It's elevated the appreciation and spirit of the workforce here at Notre Dame for sure. Any other innovations or things that you have pioneered through human resources? We didn't even talk about all the kind of onboarding and training and continuing education that you offer. But any other things like that you've either inherited or that you're working on pioneering that you're really excited about?
Yeah, I mean, we're very blessed with a wonderful team here on campus. There's about 65 people who work in the HR department who do amazing work and who truly feel passionate and about serving the employees at the university. So, I mean, we have one of the best in class benefits packages beyond the wellness center, but just the entire package around education benefits, around wellness. There's been a heavy focus on mental health services, and we're going to be launching in the new year an app for all employees that they will be able to use to be able to access services, that will be able to communicate more effectively with employees, and that will be able to do, healthy competitions in terms of like steps or meditation or, taking deep breaths and helping a lot with mental health. I think that's going to be really innovative. And I'm excited about launching that. We did a pilot this past year. But down to like the nitty gritty details, our compensation structure, and we were very ahead of the game in higher ed, having a very organized compensation structure with job families and sub families back about, I want to say about 13 years ago when that was first put into place. And we're relooking at that now, and making sure that we're matching this labor market that's happening right now, and making sure that we're ahead of the game again and don't fall behind.
So Notre Dame has been ranked year in and year out one of the top places to work on these national surveys and so forth, which is a kudos to you and the 65 members of your team and the terrific job that you guys do. But there's a lot of challenges facing the workforce today. There's been a mass exodus from the workforce. And have you felt the constraint in specific areas of the workforce in terms of hiring, being able to get up to this, meet the staffing needs for the team?
Yeah, I mean, there's been a fundamental shift that people have. The pandemic allowed people to really take stock in their lives and their work and what they want to do. In addition to that, you have these younger generations that are just focused on having more meaning in their work. And so there's been this kind of redeployment and reshuffle of people in the workforce that I don't know that, I mean, definitely in our career time, we haven't seen it does create challenges. It also creates opportunities because of this desire for more meaning in the workforce. I think Notre Dame has that special ability to say, we have this unique, amazing mission of being a force for good in the world, and that will resonate, and it does resonate with people. I talk to our TA team. We are able, Notre Dame's brand, what Notre Dame does, we're able to attract very, very top talent from and at all levels and across the board from across the country. What we have seen though is less applicants per role. So we're actually running about 30% higher number of roles that we're searching for at any given time than pre-COVID. And it's not that we have 30% more positions, as we know. It is that people are moving. People are taking roles within Notre Dame, or people are choosing to leave Notre Dame. We saw a little bit uptick in people choosing to leave Notre Dame, but our retention rates are extremely excellent of people wanting to remain on campus. And a lot of that's because of the amazing culture and the amazing benefits that we have. But yeah, we do see we have to work a little bit harder at making sure that we're getting the candidate pools that we want, that we're getting the diverse candidate pools that we want. And we're seeing maybe some less numbers in the number of candidates that are applying per role, but it's still harder when you look at the sheer numbers. It's harder to get a job at Notre Dame when you just look at total applicants versus total hires than it is to become a student at Notre Dame. So I think that, I mean, even now, post-pandemic, that's still the case.
But at the same time, we're always looking for talent, right? So to make a recruiting pitch to the viewing audience here, whether it's directly to them, family members and friends, what would be the recruiting pitch that you would make for people who might not consider Notre Dame in their employment options to think about, coming here to South Bend and working for the university?
Yeah, I mean, like my pitch is, Notre Dame is such a unique place to come and work. So we have this extremely unique mission where we're educating the hearts and minds of the best and the brightest students from across the world, that we're doing cutting edge research that is a force for good and that is solving problems in the world. And we're doing that all with our distinctively Catholic mission. It is just, it's a unique place, and if you're called at all to be part of that mission, there are countless roles that you can come and be a part of that I feel, very exciting mission. They're, coming all the way from being, working in our dining halls and working directly with our students in that way, working in student affairs, in OIT, in finance, in development, and in fundraising, and in HR, faculty, working in academic units to help help our faculty be most effective. There's such a breadth of needs and of types of jobs on campus that there's something for everyone. And then you get to come and work with some of the smartest people and kind and joyful people, and be part of a culture that really cares about individuals and people.
No, that's a great point.
How's that? Is that as good as a Lunani pitch?
Yeah, it's better than a Lunani pitch, and it's I couldn't agree with you more. It's an incredible place to work, largely because Notre Dame attracts really, really good people, and you're inspired to want to be a better person, to work with the people that you are, not just to do your job better, but to live out your faith more fully, to be a better human being. And we get to work with so many just terrific people, and and it's a great place to raise a family as well. So let's talk about, are there remote work options here at Notre Dame now? Are there hybrid work options? We know that there's a lot of people that have to be in 5 days a week, given their responsibilities that are interfacing with our students, et cetera. What is the range of possibilities for the workforce here?
Yeah. So, I mean, COVID taught us that we can work differently, and that, the future of work is shifting. So, in my early days working, it was, 8 to 5, and you're there, and you're at your desk, and you're in front of your computer, and it's just shifting. It's shifting. Both, we've proven that we can do it, and also, the younger generations are expecting it. And so, having some hybrid options for the roles where it makes sense, we do have that on campus. So there's many roles, like you said, that have to be here to actually perform the functions of their job, or they're student facing, and they have to be here on campus physically. But there are many roles that that it would make sense, and they can even be more efficient working remotely. So we have, I can think of in the research team, in IT, technology roles, that's enabled us to be able to attract really high talent of people who are maybe fully remote somewhere else, but can do their job very well. But what makes Notre Dame special is our connectedness, and is our relationships, and is our working together. And so I think that the options that we have around hybrid make a lot of sense for Notre Dame. So we have an option where people can work a couple days of work remotely, whether it's at their home or whether it's at Starbucks or another location. And then we have some options some units where that doesn't even make sense because of the nature of the work and the cyclical nature of their responsibilities. So they might have, like student affairs or at athletics, might have more of a cyclical option, where then in the summers or in off times when students aren't on campus, that there's more flexibility. And then there's some that are fully remote.
Yeah. So there's also a big push, Heather, for diversity, equity, and inclusion in the workplace and in the culture here. How do you approach that in a way that is distinctive or unique to Notre Dame?
Yeah, well, when you think of Notre Dame being a Catholic institution, welcoming all is part of what being Catholic is, in the big C, little c form. And so I think it's extremely important to all of us to have an extremely inclusive campus, both within our student body, within our faculty, and within our staff. And to me, that it's a unique pitch that Notre Dame can make. Everyone is doing this because it is important, and it is absolutely what we should be doing, and it's right with our Catholic values. It's right with Catholic social teaching, and so I think that's where Notre Dame can have a unique perspective. But it also, we should be reflective. Our staff should be reflective of the diversity within our student body, and our student body should be reflective of the diversity within our world. And so it's to me, what's most important, though, is making sure that everyone feels included, everyone is treated, equally and fairly, and that there's a sense of belonging on campus.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. So, what are some of your long-term dreams for this role? You're just getting started, but if you're out to look out 5 years or 10 years, how do you see human resources looking different in the future?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think HR as an industry is having a moment right now where, there's jokes about HR, like, oh, HR is in the room, be careful what you say, or oh, don't make us, call HR. That's definitely there as a resource for employees. But
Just for the record, if you're in development, people always saying, "Watch your pockets." They're going to come and rob you of your money.
True,
So,
right? Exactly.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
So I think of it as like I want our team to be the strategic partners of campus. Like my dream would be that HR is part of the strategic conversations. So as Notre Dame is looking, what does Notre Dame want to be in 10 years? As we're looking at our strategy now, thinking about the implications of the people, the needs of the talent that we would have a people strategy that goes right along with that would be the dream. And that, from the tippy top all the way to individual managers, feeling that they welcome their HR, their people strategists into the room with them to make sure that we're thinking of people in all decisions that we're making.
Fantastic. I think that you're overseeing what is arguably the most important area of the university, because you could say that in any organization, the most important decision you make is the next person that you hire, because that becomes the gene pool for all of your work going forward. Mm-hmm. And so not only making the selection of the right people, but then nurturing them and growing them and feeding them and holding them accountable to do their work at the highest levels. It's fundamental to any organization, and certainly to a university that is interfacing with its students and serving them ultimately. So any parting words or any words of wisdom that you'd like to share with our viewers?
Wow, that's
take that anywhere you want to go.
Anywhere. I mean, I love the opportunity to give the pitch. And so if there's anyone out there that is considering wanting to come work at Notre Dame, or that is considering maybe one of their family members or friends, please reach out and let us know.
And how would they reach out, Heather? How would they reach out? How do they reach out?
So they can look me up and send me an email. They can if they're in the area, they can call the HR number. They can go to the hr.nd.edu and go straight to our center here, and our team can put anyone in contact with our talent acquisition team. Right. But thank you for this opportunity and to even be able to give a pitch like that and to talk to this audience. It's phenomenal.
Well, Notre Dame has been lucky to count on your leadership as an alumna for many, many years now. And this role is just a summation of your incredible talent, your skills, your commitment to the place. And we're really lucky to have you as the Vice President for Human Resources. And I know that really good things are going to come from you and the team to make Notre Dame ever more tender, strong, and true moving forward. So thank you, Heather. And as we always do, please join me, and all of you, please join in a prayer to Our Lady. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen. Thanks again, Heather. Take care, all of you. God bless, and go Irish.
Go Irish.